Hi there. We're going to talk today about what it takes to get a property ready for construction. So I'm here interviewing Adam Connett. He works with a custom home builder. We are in the foothills just west of Denver, really close to the highway and the Littleton area. So this is Adam, and he's going to talk about what we've done here, what they've done here on this property to get it ready to build this home. So take it away.
All right. So, hi there. My name's Adam Connett. I work as a working PM, job site supervisor, superintendent, kind of jack of all trades for a custom home builder here in the Littleton area. This is a house we've been working on for a while. This is a big, beautiful custom home, and there's a lot of work that went into getting the site ready and making sure that everything was put in place for a successful home build. This was a raw piece of property when we got our hands on it. The homeowner selected an amazing spot here in Littleton, and we had to figure out how we were going to get a stable and safe home site, driveway, utilities, and everything up to this location. So I guess we can start with the driveway. We've got a 1/4-mile driveway we can go walk and show you guys. All right, so we're down here just a little ways below the house on the driveway here. The driveway, it's about a 1/4 mile long from the access road all the way up to the house. As you can see here, we had to navigate some of the terrain and figure out, with the civil engineers exactly how the driveway was going to work on this property. We had to make some big cuts. There was a bunch of hammering, and the driveway was a big process in and of itself. To figure out how we were gonna basically cut through these rock formations. We've got all these really cool outcroppings on this property. So we had to navigate those, figure out the safest way to get a driveway up to the house, and simultaneously figure out how we were gonna use the driveway and the other dirt work we were doing to get utilities up to the house. So we've got power, water, and gas that we need to get to the property. And the way that we did power is we have power lines that core trenched all the way up to our transformer location. And then from our transformer location, we used our driveway that we had already cut to get our power all the way up to the house. And so there's a few different phases of figuring out where our power is going to lay, trenching, laying power, backfilling, to get just your power up to the house. So that's something that's pretty unique to a custom home build up in an area like this, where you can't just hook up to city water, city power, and city gas. So what else?
I don't know, you would talk about like excavating and all the, I don't know, what do you mean? Sewage. I mean,
Let's
talk about,
for sure. Yeah, no, we can. Are you still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just easier to
Gotcha.
edit it this way.
So some of the other things we have to consider when we're preparing a site for a home is not just how to get there, but what to do with something like water, stormwater. And so on this driveway, we had engineered a series of dams and drainage so that when we get stormwater, we can bring that stormwater safely away from the house and make sure it's not getting contaminated. We've got a series of retention ponds. We've got a series of pipes that basically pull rainwater away from these natural drainages under the driveway and out to safe spots and retention ponds where that water's not going to do damage to our utilities, to the home. The other thing that we developed, that we created by building this driveway, is a ton of dirt. So that's something that a lot of people don't think about, is when we have this natural landscape, we have to have a safe and flat spot to build our home. And so when we cut this driveway, we're creating a bunch of material. When we're cutting through these hillsides, we end up reusing that material if we can to build up basically a platform at the top of this hill to build the house on. So there's always this kind of ebb and flow of how much dirt material you have on a job site. That you take and you generate and then you use when you're trying to create the landscape around the house. So we also take and we have to keep in mind our dirt material when we're trenching for all of our utilities. So for example, this is a trench that we just backfilled. We have our main power line as well as a secondary irrigation line in this trench that just got covered, but it was a 3-foot trench. That we had huge dirt piles on the side of the driveway, so you're constantly moving dirt around a job site and figuring out where to put it. and making sure that you A, have enough, and B, don't have too much left over. So there's also some importing of dirt that you have to do if the soils tests come back and you're not on an ideal spot to build a house. Sometimes you have to over excavate or modify your foundation plans to accommodate the dirt that you're actually building on. So something else that we're still trying to problem solve right now that many people might not think about is water. So out here, you do have the opportunity, depending on your lot, to get on city water. A lot of people do end up drilling wells, and it's just kind of a decision you have to make financially, what's going to be best for your situation. I know that we do have some neighbors that have drilled wells, but we're trying to figure out the best way to get water to this site, which is a unique challenge that's posed when you're building in areas like this. So the other important utility that we had to make sure that the house had was gas. And so you can either hook up to city gas out here. That's not really a great option. So what we ended up doing so that the homeowners can still run their furnaces, have their gas appliances, is we use propane. So what we did is we brought in two 1,000-gallon propane tanks, and it's pretty common, something that you see in a lot of rural areas, but again, in a spot like Littleton, where most of the houses are, you're able to hook up to your city gas, your city utilities, we had to create our own. The homeowner is going to get these filled up, maybe a couple times, I don't know, maybe twice a year, but this is going to be enough propane for them to run all the appliances in their house. They've got a backup generator that's going to run off propane. But yeah, this is another kind of unique challenge that, when you're building somewhere that's a little bit more rural and doesn't have all the hookups ready to go, you got to figure out how to get the house what it needs. Yeah, and then one of the last things that you really have to think about when it comes to utilities, building out where it's rural, is what to do with your waste. So a lot of homes in neighborhoods in the suburbs are hooked up to city sewer, and your waste goes, into the sewer line, and you never think about it again. Out here, I know a lot of people are pretty familiar with leach fields, but we had to figure out and engineer a spot on our platform here where we can install a leach field and get waste coming out of the house and leach it out, adequately and safely into the ground. So we did a series of tanks and a leach field over here kind of toward the northeast side of the property that's eventually going to get covered with some natural grasses, and hardly going to know it's there. We also, something we're prepping for out here is a pool. So this is going to be awesome. It's hard to beat that view right there, but we're going to have a huge swimming pool and kind of outdoor living area, grill, patio. We're going to do a sauna, an outdoor sauna over here. It's going to be very cool. So that's kind of our next step in figuring out how we're going to get from our mechanical room, get the pool guys out here, get them everything they need to build a really amazing outdoor pool space. And so something that a lot of people don't really think about when it comes to building a house is it's not just about making the land flat and then building up from it. There's a ton of work that has to be done to the lot itself. And then the first thing that we actually do is dig a huge hole. So the foundation for this home, we had 12-foot foundation walls. And so from our flat surface you see here, we had to dig more than 12 feet down, because starting from the bottom you have your footings, and then you pour your foundation on top of that. So there was a point in time where there was no house here. All we had was a 16-foot hole that we worked inside to create the foundation that this house sits on. And so that's basically one of the first steps is digging a giant hole and working from literally the bottom up, working yourself out of that whole series of excavating, pouring concrete, building those foundation walls, backfilling, and then once you're backfilled and you have your entire basement and foundation set, then you can start building up from that point and framing the house you see now. So this is actually the first house that we've used the zip system. And so typically there's, when you're framing with, if you're stick framing and you're using OSB as siding, There's kind of a time frame that those materials can be exposed to the elements before you have to get them covered. Zip system is really cool because it takes and combines a few of our products. So it's our sheathing, it's also some insulation, and it's our water and vapor barrier on the outside. So if you can get the zip system up, taped, and installed properly, it extends the life of kind of the time frame that you have to when you need to get it covered up. So we're still obviously trying to keep, building during the winter time here in Colorado. We're trying to keep snow out from inside the house. There were definitely a couple of days where flurries, we'd have to be shoveling out the great room. But yeah, there's the building science has come a long way, and with the materials that we used on this house, it extends the time period that you have to, be able to have a house that's exposed to the elements before you get siding up. So we are really close to being able to get roof and siding up on this house, and at that point, it's going to be protected, and it's going to be a lifetime of quality exterior. But there's one of the things that we actually had to protect really heavily, just because the timeline on this house was the windows. So the windows came from Europe, and due to the time frame, we had the windows way before we even started framing this house. And so we ended up having the truck deliver. We built a small satellite, basically a shed, that we put all of the windows inside, tarped it, taped it, protected the heck out of those things just to make sure that with the wind that we get up in this area, and the other machines and everything moving around, that window pack was very, very well protected, and that we didn't have any issues when we went to finally install those windows once framing was done.
They look great.
Thank you. They're from European Architectural Supply. A lot of the things about this build are incredibly high efficiency. That was one of the priorities of this homeowner, and so that's one of the reasons that we went with the entire zip system, the Zip R, which actually has foam insulation behind it, so it eliminates, basically creates thermal breaks in between the outside of the house and the inside of the house, makes it incredibly energy efficient. We've got triple pane windows with an extremely low heat loss. They're very, very efficient, and there's a ton of steps that we took to make this house as efficient and green as possible. So the roof is going to be a standing seam metal roof. It's going to be black. It's going to look really slick. And then we've got this, it's a recycled rice hull siding. So it's going to be a vertical siding with a nickel gap. It's going to look super slick. The feel that we were going for was a Scandinavian farmhouse. It was kind of the inspiration for a lot of the design elements in this home. We actually have a sample of the siding if you want to go look at it. Yeah, let's go. So this is just a little mock-up of our siding. Again, this is a recycled rice hull material with a nickel gap. It's mold resistant. It's rated for ground contact. It's supposed to be. It's super easy to cut and work with, and it's supposed to last forever. So this is our first time working with this particular material, but just in doing little mock-ups and working with it some, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really easy product to work with. And should hold up great, and it's going to look really slick. One of the other cool things is cool challenges that we had to work with is figuring out what to do with water that gets in between the siding and the house. And so we have this product, first time working with it. This is called Coravent. It's basically a plastic corrugated piece that we're going to put in strips, and what that allows us to do is basically space the siding off of the zip system and give the water somewhere to go and drain if moisture does end up getting behind the siding. So another one of those little steps that people may not think about when it comes to building a home. So we're gonna do this kind of gray rice hull siding with the black standing seam roof, black trim. It's gonna look very, very slick.
Yeah, if you want to see what the inside of the house looks like, we're going to do a home tour next. So if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified when we get another video posted. Thanks for taking a look. Reach out to me if you want more information on this home builder, and have a great day.